This is a beginner and casual friendly guide to playing a Blood Death Knight tank in the War Within Season 3. We've got a very simple rotation here. On the left is our top priority, on the right is our bottom or lowest priority. If you like my UI, you can get this on Patreon. It's available for everyone there. So how does it work? Well, we're going to be generating something called runic power, which is this 0 here. And my auto attacks and other abilities will be generating some of that. Apart from that, we have 6 runes, which are the 6 items you can see on my UI here. And some abilities are going to use up those runes. So that's how we use the resources as a Blood Death Knight. So, number 1 priority, Marrow Rend. We use 2 runes, and basically it does some damage and generates 3 charges of Bone Shield. What is Bone Shield? Well, it surrounds us with a barrier of whirling bones, increasing our armor. Every melee attack against us will consume a charge of Bone Shield. Basically, you want to keep using Marrow Rend to keep your Bone Shield stacks high. I've used it a few times, and you can see on the tooltip I've got 12 stacks there of Bone Shield. Number 2, use your Dancing Rune weapon on cooldown. This is going to mirror your melee attacks and bolster your defensives, and give you 35% parry chance. Then we have Death Strike. This is what you're going to be spending your runic power on, which is this resource here that we're generating. So basically, Death Strike is the way that you're dumping all of that runic power. Focuses dark power into a strike that deals physical damage and heals you for some of that damage dealt. So basically, we spend runic power and we get a lot of healing back. Use this, like I said, as your runic power dump. Soul Reaper, basically use this on targets below 35% health. It does a lot of damage to them, but only really if they're if they are at 35% health or below. So only use that at that point. Then we have Tombstone. Now you can see I can't use this at the moment, and that's because I don't have any Bone Shield charges. And what Tombstone will do is it will consume up to 5 Bone Shield charges. For each charge consumed, you will gain some runic power and an absorb damage shield equal to 6% of your maximum health. It's also, even though it doesn't say it here, going to help reduce the cooldown on your Dancing Rune weapon. I also only want you to use it if you have at least 5 Bone Shield charges to use. Otherwise, it's a bit of a waste on Tombstone. We want to make sure we're getting the maximum effect. Death and Decay, you basically put an area of Death and Decay onto the floor, dealing damage to enemies nearby, but also healing you when you are in it. And your Heart Strike, which is now Vampiric Strike, and Heart Strike is from Hero Talents, this will also hit more enemies when you're in your Death and Decay. So keep this up on the ground as much as possible. Bone Storm, if you're at 5 or more bone charges, and Dancing Rune weapon is on cooldown, and you're in your Death and Decay, which you are right now, then we want to use it. Again, it consumes up to 5 Bone Shield charges to create a whirl of bone and gore that batters all nearby enemies, and healing us for a bit of that as well. It will also help regenerate your Bone Shield charges. We're going to then use Consumption on cooldown. These are our lowest priority spells. Use Consumption on cooldown. That will strike everyone in front of you, only enemies of course, and heals you for a massive amount of that damage done. Then we've got Blood Boil. We want to use this to keep the charges rolling. What do I mean by that? Well, can you see that it's coming off cooldown up to 2 charges, and then it's maxed out? Keep those charges going round and round so that they're always at least charging 1 charge. This basically will infect everyone with Blood Plague, which does damage to them, and it just does damage. Then, if you've got excess runes and you've gotten all the way down the priority list to here, use Heart Strike to spend your runes and deal some damage. So, keep up your Bone Shield charges, use Dancing Rune weapon on cooldown, use Death Strike to spend your runic power, only use Soul Reaper on enemies with 35% health or lower, use your 5 Bone Shield charges on Tombstone, keeping your Death and Decay at all times as much as possible, use 5 charges of Marrow Rend or Bone Shield on Bone Storm, use Consumption on cooldown, use Blood Boil to keep it rolling, and then use Heart Strike as a filler, basically just to spend any excess runes. And that is the rotation for Blood Death Knight. So the way it works, really, is that you can use this in single target and AoE. Blood Boil affects all targets within 10 yards. Heart Strike affects the target and 1 other nearby enemy. When you're standing in your Death and Decay, it will also hit an extra 3 targets. consumption will hit all nearby targets, etc., etc. There's a lot of AoE in this rotation. There is some other stuff I want to talk to you about, of course, though. Anti-Magic Shell and Anti-Magic Zone are fantastic defensives for getting out of magic damage. Dark Command will force the target to attack you and is our taunt as a tank, to make sure, of course, the target is attacking us and not our allies. Mind Freeze on a 15-second cooldown is our interrupt, meaning we can interrupt the enemy's spellcasting, especially effective in Mythic Plus. We should be using this as much as possible. Icebound Fortitude is also going to reduce damage taken, another great defensive. Death's Advance is a speed increase that we can use every 45 seconds, and Death Grip will pull your targets to you, which is also amazing. And it also works as a taunt. We also have Raise Dead, which is a cooldown every 2 minutes, but the Raise Dead ghoul that you get will last for a minute. Just use this on cooldown pretty much as well. Lastly, we have Vampiric Blood. Embrace your undeath, increasing your maximum health and increasing all healing and absorbed received for about 10, well, not about 10 seconds, it is for 10 seconds, and that is pretty much it. Once you learn the what, which is what I've just taught you, what spells to use, when to use them, what priority to use them in, what I would then recommend doing, maybe looking at the single button assistant and just seeing it visually a bit more in game. Or what I would recommend is then looking through the passives in your spellbook, or going through all of the other talents that you don't know about, because that is how you're going to then learn the why of what we're doing. It's a beginner, friendly, casual guide I'm doing here, so I don't want to overwhelm you too much. These are the builds that are in the description below that you can get, and will do you very well for beginner and casual players. But like I said, if you do want to really improve and get to that next level, I'd recommend looking through them all one by one, seeing how it all comes together, and you should already be used to the rotation at that point. So you can go, oh right, this is why I'm doing that. That's how that fits together. And it will just make a bit more sense and help you up your skill level. If you're looking for other specs or classes, then check out the playlist you now see on screen.